Hello, this is your host, VS, also known as Alan Merriweather. I'm here doing my show, Pink Shorts, the day after Commander's birthday. Um, I may have announced that it wasn't really that kind of celebration. It might have been a 4 week pre celebration of someone who is very important to me. Either way, today's show is about um, just defining what a parent is to a child below the age of 18 before the age of emancipation, which is 18. Okay. Um, a parent to a child is someone you look up to, someone you say hi to in the morning, someone you say good night to at night, someone you depend on, someone you call on for help. A parent is a provider of three determiners, and I just want to help everyone what those determiners are. Okay. The first determiner would be shelter, a place for a child to be, a place for a child to learn, develop, have healthy meals, vegetables, cheese, carrots, water with vitamins. Um, that would be shelter. The second determiner would be food, and that is healthy meals, well balanced diets, nutrition, low calories, low carbohydrates, low starches, low gluten. Okay, that's the second determiner. So far we have shelter and food. The third would be clothing, and that includes jerseys, any contracts from Nike to Buffalo Public Schools, any kind of clothing that you would wear to protect from the elements of the weather, sweaters, t-shirts, socks, underwear, t-shirts, any kind of jerseys that protect the wind from blowing a certain way, any dry fit material, any material that protects from the elements. That's the third determiner. So you have shelter, food, and clothing. Now I used to work at a clothing place. I used to work at Nike Retail Services in Niagara Falls. So the third determiner is very important to the other two determiners because the past 60 days have been what? What have those days been? So we call them determiners because it's really a word that defines the necessity of having those three things. And without those three things, we have to determine what we are to Him. I mean, what are we to Him if we cannot provide three determiners? And it's very important that we know what those determiners are. I mean, if we're not going to provide those determiners, then I don't see a pattern of being a parent. I don't see a pattern. I don't see a consistency. I don't see a pattern of determining the need. And so I have some slides I would like to show everyone. Um, these slides represent sort of what I'm talking about. Let's take a look at the first slide. The first slide is just, whoa, that's not the first slide. Whoa. Excuse me, everyone. All right. Okay. Now this is a just a site where you can go to swap your cell phone contracts. If you're in a contract, if you started a contract, if you began a contract with someone, logically, and if you just want to maybe convert it over to someone else, just let someone else take over the contract. You can sign up here. You simply go here, sign in, you get in an account here, and you just, determine with the things you need. Do you need someone to resume your contract, take over your contract, avoid a termination fee? You swap it out with other people here. You go swap out, and there are a lot. There's about 16 options or something here to choose from. You select your network, whatever you have. There's about 16 networks there, and then you go through, and then you just select who it is that you want, whatever you want to do on here. If there's a better option, maybe that's a determiner in your decision. However, you must be 18 or older to facilitate in this website or to do um, any activity on that site. This is sellswapper.com. Okay. Then the other slide I want to show you is just upgrade. And let's just go over what an upgrade is. You know, an upgrade says is to raise something. Okay. Raise something to a higher standard. In particular, improve by adding or replacing components. In my situation, I think we will be replacing components, removing components that don't belong. Then I think we'll be adding good features, vocal talent, vocal training, um, good production, just good things, good housing, good resources, things like that. We'll be adding to that. That's an upgrade. Okay. The second definition of upgrade is to raise to a higher grade or rank. And I believe that's what we're doing as well. You can find this definition on google.com. Just type upgrade and there it is. Boom. Bada bing, bada boom. Upgrade. But the queen of media is here. Let's talk to the queen of media and see what she has to say. It is a day after someone's birthday. However, I explained it was not a celebration of you. It was just it's a 4 week pre-celebration of someone else. There's three determinants of a parent of a channel 4. Who could I be talking about? Who could I be talking about? A friend of mine who wanted company to go to modeling school. A friend of mine? Maybe I should have called yesterday. Would you have liked that? We should have had dinner yesterday. Quite a change from what I had been doing. And it was from there. It's a 4 week celebration. Modeling and then into acting. And then things began. For someone else's birthday. I mean, there was a time when I had 2 or 3 jobs in the same day. I'd go here and do a little bit, here and do a little bit, here and do a little bit. You determined and people began to talk about, this new actress. You determined what he can do. Next thing I know, I was. You caused the environment to change. Okay, so we'll take a break until the queen wants to talk on the microphone. What I would like to say, those 3 determiners were altered. We altered shelter, we altered food, and we altered clothing. 3 determiners that make us a provider. We added pain, dishonesty, devilism in the equation, which does not make us. It doesn't determine us to be the title anymore. It's as if we are stripped of our titles. Our logical titles have been stripped because we've eliminated the determiners: housing, shelter, food, clothing. by adding radiological dispersal devices, which have caused an environment of what? How does a child provide for himself after 18? Do we admit being a problem to the equation? We have to admit we are the problem. We have to know what an upgrade is. An upgrade is just something I've been thinking about so long ago, and the opportunity has presented itself, and the answer is yes. It's always been that way because the upgrade is more than an upgrade. It is to a higher standard of living, to improve, and that's what I've chosen, is to upgrade to a higher standard, you know, to wrap things up, to swap things up. Is the perfect analogy because I like the analogies because it just makes people, it gives them an easy way of looking at things. It's just an analogy to swap a cell phone, to swap a contract is an analogy to upgrade. So again, we're waiting for the Queen of Media to respond to that. I don't know what she wants to say, but we had lunch at Famous Dave's yesterday, and well, I mean, other than a few things, it was okay. I would rank it about. I mean, I don't want to give it a rank right now, but when I do decide to give it a rank, I will let Pink Shorts know exclusively what that was. Now let me remind you why we went there, and then you can look at the title of the screen. Take a look down here. Three determiners. We were on a NFTA bus, Route 6, and that was why we went there. I mean, there was dinner there that Sunday, and lunch, we thought having lunch would be appropriate, just to learn, just to lunch about things, and that's why we went there. So we'll give that review another day. But again, a parent is a provider of three determinants, and all I can say is that from the law point of view, that's what I've been told. It's just we have to be determined on what it is we want for the people we create. I mean, if we make things, we have to make them the best that we can be, the best that we can make them. And that's important that we make things that we want to see flourish into the best they can be. So we've decided to flourish um, our potential just to be the best we can be. And sometimes an upgrade is where the best is. Sometimes the best is not always with what is logical. What seems logical is not always what's best, you know. And that's all I can say is what logical is really, it's not always what's best. Things can change down the line, money can be an issue, and usually money is the root of all evil, you know. So, you know, I think we made some decisions, and the Queen of Media is here. Hold on, let's see.
Eva in Divine Guidance. My mother said when I
Who?
was about 6 months old, she was pushing me in the baby carriage. And she
Push
was
me.
stopped by a woman who was admiring this newborn baby. And she said to my mother, take care of that child. She has a sixth sense. Now, she said when I was a child, I could always tell her when something was going to happen in the family, around the family. I didn't like it. I was beginning to think that something was radically wrong. And it was my cousin. He was a psychologist. He said, let's go for a walk. He took me to a bookstore and he bought me all these books. And he said to me, we all have it. Some more developed.
What is she talking about? What are the three
Years later,
determinants?
I had this dream that I fell in the street and that I had my left hand extended for help.
Left hand extended.
And so there was something about it that was very strange.
So the left hand that she's talking about is the left arm and a tattoo of someone who determines what happens. Determines the determinations have already been tabulated, and it's unanimous. It's unanimous at this time. It's like choosing. It's like deciding that we've all unanimously decided this. I mean, it's literally exploitation of to make a living. And I believe we've decided that why doesn't he reap the benefits of all of this instead of other people? Why shouldn't I reap all the benefits of my body? Private shock while I'm filming the recording of this video for the University of Buffalo Damon College. Now we have filed suit against the people who have done this surgery clandestine at 15 John Paul Court on an Intex airbed from Walmart with gold sheets provided by the owner of the residence. I just want people to know that it takes three determiners to raise a child. Now, the end part of the show is I'm not 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. I am 31 years old, and this show topic really doesn't make sense to what we're really talking about. But it does take three determiners: shelter, food, and clothing. Maybe the fourth determiner would be health and eliminating the risk of any bad health issues. Instead of adding risk, we want to decrease risk. Decrease the risk of anything else. Not to increase, because he's not in, but we want to decrease the determinants of additional diseases. So maybe we can decrease the eliminations with the determiners And maybe we'll get the analogy of that later, but we want to decrease any disease that can happen out of this show, not increase because he's not in, and he'll never be in with this show. He's going to decrease all the extra stuff that's here. And although the Queen of Media is trying to avoid this topic, I mean, this is your time to talk. She's clearly avoiding us because it's what? There's nothing wrong with talking to me on my show. It's really not. There's nothing wrong. The Queen of Media can talk to us. Well, she doesn't want to talk to us, so we'll just have to end it at that. Three determiners. Now, the next show is going to be determiners of an adult. Or are there any determiners? He's grown. He's self sufficient. It's just the decisions we've made thinking that he's 17 years old is affecting why there has to be additional decisions involved with this. And, you know, to be honest, it really doesn't make sense of even blaming anyone when we don't have, let me think of the word, if you file things in a court, who would answer those filings? So I'm sure with the filings we've have should be sufficient to everything else. I mean, it's literally my house that I perform these things in within the city limits of Buffalo. And I'm sure that Timball, City of Buffalo, will answer these questions so that we don't have to file against people who don't have the adequate resources to answer these questions. And if a flower was a rose, I'm sure we've got it then. I'm sure 6 months described what we don't have. I'm sure 6 months describes what truth needs to be told. And I'm glad that two companies agreed to be a part of it. And, maybe it does cost reputation, but maybe it's a way of saying this should have never got that far. The boy had to be self sufficient at some point. Self sufficiency requires a job, requires employment, requires transportation to get there. And it's just sad that the transportation to get there is involved with the employment as well. You have transportation, employment, and with illegal drugs. At some point, this show has to end with the determinants. We don't want to increase risk. We want to decrease risk. Everyone wants to decrease risk of any other kind of things that go wrong. I want to decrease any risk that can happen with wearing any of this technology. I want to decrease any risk. I want to decrease. Am I wrong for saying I want to decrease any risk? I want to decrease any risk out there. I just want to decrease any risk. So I will leave my show at that. Where here she goes. I want to decrease
Miss Jane Pittman.
risk.
Remember that scene where she defiantly drinks from the
I
White's
don't
own
remember
water fountain?
anything.
Oof, that's a classic. For the
Why can't
Emmy-winning
we
role,
decrease the
Cicely
risk?
would need to play Jane as she aged to almost 100 years old. At the time, producers were concerned that she wouldn't be able to
What are the
convincingly
determiners?
do that on camera. Well, Cicely Tyson found a way.
What way is that?
When I was doing Jane Pittman, they said my body was too straight, that I needed to have some age in.
Okay. So that's the queen of media. And again, she's in sync with our show topic here. Take a look at our show topic. She's in sync with us. She's talking about parents. We're talking about parents. I'm talking about decreasing the risk from wearing these devices. And I will always love talking about the decreasing of the risk of having anything. And I will leave my show at that. Until next time, this has been Pink Shorts.